So we're about to head into the next panel. We're just waiting for them to start up. Shouldn't be too much longer. Hopefully we didn't have a stall because it looks like their timer isn't counting down. We're having some technical difficulties. There we go. There we go.
I live. Hello,
Yes,
everyone.
you guys are
Hello,
live.
Renegades. My name is Terry Latorco. I am the Senior Marketing Manager here at Renegade Games. I'm super excited about this panel today.
So
We're
am
going to be
I.
talking about a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of fun things. We might have some spoilers. Maybe Sarah's spoken to Scott already to keep him in line, but who knows? And I am joined today by three of the wonderful people I get to work with here at Renegade Games Studios. If you're not aware, I'm Terry. I am unofficially, I like to say I am the fangirl of Renegade Games, my unofficial title, because I'm a little bit excitable, maybe just a touch. But I would like to introduce you to my colleagues here at Renegade, and I'm going to ask them to let everyone know what they do here at Renegade, and maybe throw out your unofficial title at Renegade as well. So Scott, let's start with you.
Hello, so I'm Scott Gata. I guess my official title is president and publisher. My unofficial title would probably be causer of trouble, spoiler of things, frustrator of all. I think that's fairly accurate. There you go.
I think I've called you in the past the advocate of patience, because
really?
you ask people to just wait.
To just wait.
Wait.
Right. That's true.
Sarah, how about you? Why don't you let everyone know what you do here at Renegade?
Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Erickson. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing. That's my official title. My unofficial title was Queen Bee until all my bees got eaten by a bear. So you know that does happen in Montana. Also, my current unofficial title is Enemy of Fun, because I won't let Scott spoil any of the things. That's the more real unofficial title. But I get to tell people about fun things most of the time and keep Scott from telling people about fun things we shouldn't talk about yet. That's what I do.
Well, that's wonderful. And I have Anita here, who I'm so delighted that she's able to join us all the way from, where are you at, Anita?
I'm in Costa Rica. So officially, I'm the creative director at Renegade Games, and unofficially, I don't really have an unofficial name. I'll say they let me in today, so I could be like the dungeon keeper. I don't know. But I work with all the graphic designers and the illustrators and production team, and it's a great team to be on. So happy to be here! Yay!
Yay!
I'm so excited. I think that there's going to be a few fun stories. So if you're tuning in now, we're going to do a few things. We're going to kind of catch up on some of the stuff we talked about from last Gen Con. We'll catch you up on some things that happened in between then and now. We'll also talk about some of the games we're featuring here at Gen Con Online 2020. And then maybe at the end, we'll also talk about some upcoming stuff that nobody knows about yet, other than those of us who are here in the Renegade team.
Yay.
And then we're going to take questions from you. So if you have questions at all, please throw them into the chat. We'll absolutely make time and try to talk about some of them, because I think your questions are going to help give us some clarity as to what you're interested in hearing more of. So first thing to start off, we are Renegade Games Studios, but earlier this year, we did something that wasn't exactly a game, and that was Jigsaw Puzzles, which were on Kickstarter, successfully funded. Oh, Sarah has one! It's so exciting. Can you tell me the story of how we're like, we gotta make some jigsaw puzzles? I'm gonna throw it to Scott first, and then Sarah and Anita, maybe you can add some color in terms of deciding art, and you know, Sarah's the resident puzzler among us, and she can talk a little bit more about the puzzles. So go ahead, Scott.
So sure. So puzzles were actually part of our plan. We were planning on expanding into puzzles, but probably not until next year. That was really our timeline. We wanted to have stuff ready and go into New York Toy Fair to be able to pitch to buyers and all that. You know, and then the world changed. Surprise. So people were spending a lot more time at home, and puzzles have become really hot. So we took our plan and we accelerated it. And the very first puzzles that we're putting out are puzzles based on Renegade Games and some of our partners. But coming up fairly soon, you'll be hearing about puzzles coming from Renegade that are from other outside partners and licensors. So we're going to be doing puzzles in a big way. So this is just the beginning. There you go.
Well, that is really exciting. You're just really excited, Sarah, to show off some of these puzzles. So, but I'm going to throw it to Anita first. I'm going to talk to you about the art a little bit and what the difference is in terms of like game product and puzzle art.
It's a great way to show off the art. I think it's really fun because now it becomes interactive. You're using all the pieces and all corners of this puzzle and bringing it together. We have such amazing art. Sarah is showing off Overlight right now. And it's fun to kind of hide a few little things here and there within the art. So if you're putting the art together, maybe you'll come across some secrets there. But yeah, it's nice to be able to show it in a larger format than just a game box.
Did you really hide something in here?
Spoilers. We always hide stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look at that now because it is.
A lot of people don't know, Anita and I have been hiding things in art for 3-4 years now.
That's
Like,
true.
I
I actually
about
didn't know about that for a while.
Yeah.
Sarah's
not
like
things.
looking now. She's looking. She's looking.
Seriously, so
are we allowed to talk about that?
I just finished the overlay puzzle last night, actually, and it was fantastic. I do a lot of puzzles, so my husband and I actually do puzzles consistently all the time. There's just always a puzzle on our table, and every single morning when we're eating breakfast, we're puzzling, and every evening, if we have a little bit extra time, we put some pieces together. So it was really fun to do one from our own art. And I will say that it's difficult. Like this one from Kwanchai Moria of the overlay art was much, much harder than I thought it would be, but in a good way. The puzzles are really high quality. The pieces were really nice. They fit together really particularly. So you weren't kind of guessing, does this actually go here? I was super impressed, and I do a lot of puzzles. So I am very, very happy to be able to get these into the wider world. Should be fun.
Yeah, the art is really like, it's intricate but it's challenging for if you're a puzzle fan. That art is really quite intricate, so you can figure it out. And that's a testament to you, Anita, who's like making those tiny variations in the pieces and in the art as we move forward. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say that we have such a wide range of amazing illustrators. Kwanchai's texture in his paint and all the colors that he uses versus like Heather Vaughn, who's got more of like a flat look with a lot of texture of her own, completely different, where it's more of a halftone texture. So it's kind of nice that we have this all in the puzzle world now, because we have so many amazing illustrators, and it's just a great way to showcase them off in all their different styles.
It's a testament. Like, being able to showcase our art a lot of people are really excited about it. And the first edition does come with a like puzzler aid. It's like it's like a poster size of the art itself too, so you can really see those details. Oh, it's so beautiful, Sarah.
Yeah,
It's so upside okay, there we go.
I have to say, I was really surprised. Like we put these puzzles together pretty quick, right? We moved on them quickly because we wanted them out for the holidays. And I guess I wasn't paying attention to on the spec sheet as to the dimensions of that poster. You know, Dan and Sarah and Anita and everybody took care of it, and I trust them. And then I got a sample, and I opened up the poster, and I was like, holy moly, like this thing is huge. Like this isn't just like it's not just like a little poster to have as a reference sitting on the table. Like this is a poster you can just put up on your wall. I was like, what the? I think I even questioned. I was like, was this a mistake? Were the posters supposed to be this big? And everybody was like, yeah, they were supposed to be that big. I was like, okay, this is awesome. So it's kind of like you're getting a full-size poster for free with the puzzle. I don't think anybody's ever done it that big. I've seen puzzles where they do like a little poster, right? Like a 11 by 17 maybe, or a, 8 by 10 or something. But yeah, that was pretty rocking. Like I was surprised. Like
I think it's
pleasantly surprised.
Well, you can actually like use that poster to actually map and sort your puzzle color pieces too to match, and it just makes sorting so much easier. I'm really excited about it. We also earlier this year we released a game called Stellar, which was, I think it's the next like big 2-player game. Every critic who's had it has really enjoyed it. Scott, we featured it over at Renegade Con as well, and we're demoing it here at Gen Con too. Can you talk to me just like a little bit about Stellar and the designers behind it and what captured you about the game?
Well, I mean, so this was Ben Riddle and Matt Pinchbeck, right? Like they came to us. We really liked the game. Actually, I think it was Dan and Sarah and I that saw it first at maybe an Unpub a couple years ago, and we really liked it. The theming was very different back then. Those guys had it themed around lighthouses, which was really cool. We didn't hate the lighthouses, but we wanted to do something a little different. So it took a while, and we worked through different themes and everything, and we kind of wound up where we are with this kind of like spacey telescope, sort of thing where you're building out this really beautiful tableau. Yeah, and it's just.
Oh, we're having loading problems. Technical difficulties. Hopefully it resets soon.
Yeah, and it's and like you said, I don't think I've seen any even like middle of the road reviews. Like all the reviews for this game have been really great. So we're excited because 2-player games have been huge for us. Fox in the Forest,
really
Fox in the Forest Duet.
Love Fox in the Forest.
Those 2-player games are absolutely on fire. So another really, really solid 2-player game in our lineup is very exciting. So
there are demos available for it. Go ahead, Anita.
I was just going to add that, sorry, that the art in that is amazing, not only because Tim Barton did all of that art from scratch, like a lot of people will source images, but he built all of that from scratch himself. He's actually a structural engineer, so it's like legit. Like it's amazing. I love it.
That's
and Janice
awesome.
Orban also helped out.
Yeah. That's excellent. Is there anything that we might like look forward to?
Oh, I don't know. You should check with Sarah because I don't want to get in trouble.
So I will spoil some things so that Scott doesn't have to get in trouble. So we loved working with these two, Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchbeck, and they are just very wonderful designers. And so we actually have another project from them coming out next year that we can't talk too much more about, but if you love Stellar, then keep an eye out because we have another thing coming up from them that is shaping up to be very awesome. And it's another abstract game, but it's in the same sort of realistic nature type themed, lots of good science, and absolutely beautiful graphic design from a well-known, and graphic design, of course, but then also very well-known artist. It's helping us out with this one. So we're excited to share more about that soon.
I'm looking forward to that. I think it, like, Stellar is a big hit in our household as well, and seeing what comes next, I'm really excited about it. Speaking of things Terry is appropriately excited about, like an appropriate amount of excited about, I'm really excited to talk about Wordlings RPG, and Scott allowed us to make more RPG content and publish it, which is really exciting. Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about Wordlings and how we got into this world?
Yeah, so Wordlings actually is from WizKids, and WizKids put out, right, they have all these fantastic Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, and then Brian over at WizKids had this idea for this Wordlings universe, which is kind of like D&D, but the adventurers are kids, and he had this really interesting premise, and WizKids put out a bunch of children, kid adventures with a familiar, and they put them out as miniatures, but there wasn't a game to back it up. It was kind of like adjacent to their Dungeons and Dragons line, but it was this proprietary thing. And about maybe 2 years ago, right around the time where that came out, maybe it was out 6 months, I was sitting on a couch. I can picture this couch at the Gamma Trade Show with Justin Zirin from WizKids. And I said, what are you doing with the Wordlings line? Those miniatures are fantastic. And I said, it needs a game. And he said, yeah, it would be cool if somebody did a role-playing game to support it. And I said, we'll do it. And then I went to Sarah, and Sarah said, no, you're not allowed to do role-playing games. I've told you. And then I went back, and then I went back to Justin, and I said, we're all good to go. Everybody's agreed. So, So then we brought Eliza Teague into the project, and then she took Brian's premise and really just ran with it and fleshed out this really cool world. So if you don't know what the premise of Wordlings is, that children in that world have magic, and they start to develop magic around 11, 12, 13 years old, and they go on adventures. But as they come towards adulthood, their magic starts to diminish, and eventually as adults, a lot of the adults in the community in the village don't even remember having that power, right? So it's kind of like a little Peter Pan-esque. And also your familiar is kind of your protector. So
I'm gonna have to look into this.
If you get knocked out, and you're in that situation where your character might wind up dying, you don't die. You will be whisked away and wake up the next morning in your bed 1 year older. And that's the penalty, because you are now 1 year closer to being an adult, and your adventuring career may be over.
That's such a cool
But it's really cool. It's 5th edition based, so there's a lot of possibilities. You can play this as youth adventurers, and eventually then go over into 5th edition proper and play as an adult adventurer, or it's family friendly. It's really it's awesome. It's really, really cool. So this one I'm very excited about, and I'm just going to ignore Sarah and say whatever I want. So,
yeah, so it's wonderful that we do get to play around in this world. I think it's a really neat one, and we wanted to support it in a little bit deeper way than we get to do with some of our other games, because it is a role-playing game, and that allows us to do things like actual plays, full playthroughs, have a group play that we can video and watch and enjoy this adventure with them. And so we're going to be doing that. And
I would
Terry,
be down to being a person in one of these streams for that.
We're taking off on Thursday's Tales. The first episode of Wardlings of Rivers Hollow will be launching on the Renegade Twitch channel with video on demand afterwards on our YouTube channel. So right here.
Awesome.
So make sure right now you can just hit that follow button and get notified when we go live.
No, I did.
But we also are premiering in this panel today the trailer for Wardlings of Rivers Hollow. So let's get that rolling.
Step into a world of wonder and magic, sparked by the innocence of humanity's most important heroes, the children. Here, children are the saviors of the land who venture on epic quests to protect their realm, and holding on to the virtues of youth has never been more imperative. The children of Ni'ur, blessed by the grace of Dexmia, became the only inhabitants of the world with a natural ability for magic. Guardians of the only Ur in the land, the children became what the gods called their wardlings. And the magical beings, which once protected everyone, now protected only them as bonded familiars. With magic and the care of the world in their hands, these unlikely heroes emerge, ready to face any evils that may threaten Ur and beyond. A new RPG experience for all ages.
That looks so cool.
Oh,
Decker
no.
spoilers.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So
Exciting.
I'm really excited about that. We got
Me
to see
too.
some of the art in that trailer. If you haven't had a look at the book, Anita, why don't you talk about some of the art direction you had for this book? Because making it, my daughter tore that book open and was so excited. The map folds out of this hardcover book. Why don't you give us some insight into
will definitely
the
have to
art
look into
within
that.
the Wardlings book?
It's so beautiful. Jackie Davis and Sabrina Pugnall, they did an amazing job together. Jackie Davis did the cover wraparound, and there was a lot of character development based on Elisa's descriptions in the book. And they did such an amazing job just bringing those characters to life. Everything from sketching them out and going back and forth with Elisa and myself and Scott and Dan. It turned out, I mean, we couldn't ask for anything better. It's awesome. I'm excited.
It's so exciting. I think that the universe is so accessible, and we're really excited for this show too, because this is one of those shows that I think will be a great way to get families together. You can watch it together. You can play in that universe together. So it's wonderful all around, and I love gaming with my family. So if you are enjoying that or looking for that sort of thing, definitely check out Wardlings. Next up, we have a game that's coming up in our Solo Hero series, going to be released later this year. It's called Warp's Edge. Scott, do you want to talk about it a little bit? I remember you trying this game out.
Yeah. So Warp's Edge. Ooh, we've been working on this one for a while. It's like gotta go back in time a little bit. So Warp's Edge, solo game. Scott Alms put this together, and it's a follow-up to Proving Grounds. So totally different game, totally different gameplay, but what they have in common is a strong narrative thread for a solo player to then experience in the game. So it comes with a little storybook. You get to read through the story, and then where the story leaves off, you jump into the game and you play out the premise of the story in the game, similar to what we did in Proving Grounds. But this one will take you to space. It's kind of got a little bit of that like Groundhog Day meets Live, Die, Repeat, the Tom Cruise movie, right? So you're a pilot in space and you are trying to defeat the mothership, and just when you fail, you warp. You go to the next warp, and you have to kind of relive it again. And you're learning things as you go.
Oh, that's
and
an
you're
interesting concept.
Not quite repeating history, but you have to progress through the game that way. And it's tough, like any solo game should be. It's a challenge. There's different motherships that you can play against. There's different variations, lots of replayability. We're really excited about it. And solo gaming, again, has been really booming for us. It's been very successful. Games that we even do with solo modes, but we wanted to do games that were purely made for a solo experience. And that's what the Solo Hero series is all about. So there you go. I've said all I'm allowed to.
Awesome. So this will be coming out later this year. It's available in our booth right now to pre-order. So if you want to check that out, you can. I think we have open tables for it as well on
Sadly,
Tabletopia.
I don't have funds until
so if you want
Thursday
to
next week.
jump into our Renegade Discord and try it for yourself, go ahead. It's there for you. And finally, let's touch on something we announced last Gen Con. I had the little miniatures hidden underneath a little Renegade Con bandana in a little locked case back then. And this is Scott Pilgrim Miniatures The World. Again, now available for pre-order in our Gen Con booth. Scott, you want to talk about this one too?
Okay.
Oh, loading. Technical difficulties. Bow. Hopefully this kicks up again. There we
Okay,
go.
so is years in the making. Literally years in the making. So we did the Scott Pilgrim deck building game. What now,
I've seen
Sarah?
that.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that.
I would say 4 years. It's been a while, but yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I think that's right. So even back then, I know I said internally to the team, I said what I really want to do is I want to do a miniatures game for Scott Pilgrim, because I want little Scott Pilgrim toys that I can beat up other Scott Pilgrim toys with. So eventually Oni Press agreed to it, and Brian Lee O'Malley, and we started development on it.
Oh, I'm
and,
so excited about
then we brought
the new
in
Oni
Erica
Press
Hayes,
games.
that I always mess
I'm
up
in
her last
love with their
name,
series.
Boyaris. And she was our lead designer on it. We spent tons of time with Brian Lee O'Malley. She came out to California. She's Canadian too, so
Woo,
you know
Canadian.
Scott Pilgrim, having a Canadian designer design a Scott Pilgrim game is the only way to go.
Yep.
So then we started doing miniature sculpts and paint ops, going up to Brian's place, like sitting at his kitchen table, actually going over paint masters and feedback. So it's been a lot of fun. The premise is just what you would expect from Scott Pilgrim. It's combat with attitude is the way I like to explain it. You're reliving all these different fights. There's different boards for the different arenas. The boards pop up with cool backdrops. There's 3D furniture that you can throw at each other and you can break. It's really just super, super cool. So we're looking forward to it. And it's coming this year. There you go.
Ooh, nice.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I just get to say all the fun things about it. Anita did a lot of work on it, and I get to say, I get to say that I went and I go and hang out with Brian Lee O'Malley and go over paint masters, but I didn't really do all the work. Like I just get to go. So, Anita's perspective might be that there were times where it was less fun and just a lot of work. So and that
I'm excited. I'm excited that it's almost done. There was a lot of challenges with it. Everything from the board folding and making sure it's that's going to fit in the box. Like I think the first one we did, it didn't even fit in the box. To go back and like refigure out the dimensions to it. There's so many cool components, the dials, working with all the players, and then making sure that all the objects themselves will fit or size up to the miniatures. I think they were too tall at first. We had to make some adjustments, make sure it all looked real and everything was to scale.
I think we learned last
It's really
night.
fun. It was really fun to work with the
Measure
Oni
to
team.
import once,
Brian O'Malley,
measure
Jason
another 50
Fisher.
times is the
They're
key.
awesome. And then our graphic design team was amazing. We had Waldo and Jeannie on there doing. There's just so much to it. Everyone kind of had to pitch in and get it done and make it look amazing. It looks really cool. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Kudos to your team, Anita. Like as a miniature fan, terrain is like everything, and like the speakers and the microphone and the bar stools, and like it all was so cool. When I first saw it, I'm really excited.
I will definitely check it out.
Now, one other thing that we announced last year at Gen Con that we're featuring here at Gen Con 2020 is Vampire the Masquerade Rivals Expandable card game. Sarah, you look really excited. Do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yes, I am very excited about this. So as you said, we announced it last year, and this is an expandable card game that we've been working on for a while now, based in the world of darkness. And as you would expect, you get to play as the controller of this group of vampires, and you're trying to attack your specific rival at the table. So it's actually a 2 to 4 player game, but there will be one person that is your target, and you can win the game by either taking out your target or by getting 13 agenda points. So there's a couple different avenues that you can use to try and win this game, but there's also just a lot going on. There's conspiracies and schemes that you can throw out on the table, and you can ask for other people to help you with it, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so they may be gunning for me, but I am also gunning for this other person. So it feels like it has all of that intensity. It has all those schemes and all of the things that you would expect to see in a vampire game. And of course, we've got this incredible, beautiful artwork. We worked really closely with Paradox to make sure that everything looked like it should be in the World of Darkness. And it turned out to be just this really deep, rich game with so much that you choose as you play through it. Also, it's asymmetrical, which I personally really like in every game that I play that's asymmetrical. I just think it's fun. So if I'm playing as Bruja, my way that I collect agenda points will be different than, say, Terry if she's playing as the Malkavian. And each of us has things that we're trying to do that are very specific to the clan that we're playing. But of course, this is an expandable card game. So if you want to be playing as maybe a deck that has both Bruja and Malkavian, or maybe Ventru and Toreador, you can build whatever deck you want. And so the base set will actually come with extra cards that you can use to modify your decks and start doing some of that customization.
Amazing
and
as well.
we have a huge plan
the
for
Vampire
building
Masquerade
communities. We've
setting.
got forums. There's a Discord channel you can join. We're going to be doing tournaments. We've got organized play set up. All of that will be revealed one piece at a time through our Kickstarter that launches next Tuesday. So that's August 4th. And if you want to check out some more information about the game, we've done a lot of cool stuff this weekend already, and we'll be posting even more next week. But if you go to vampirerivals.com, you'll find out all about Vampire the Masquerade Rivals expandable card game. So yeah, can you tell I'm a little excited about this? It's just been so much fun to play so far.
The nice thing about vampirerivals.com, if you go there right now, you'll see a link to get notified on Kickstarter, a newsletter to sign up at. And this that we just premiered this week, we're going to show it again. We had a whole panel on it that will be available on the Renegade Game Studios YouTube channel. So we'll be posting it there. If you missed it over Gen Con, you can catch it there. But in that panel, you didn't show this trailer. I'm really excited to share. So if you missed it, check it out.
Ooh, trailer.
When the sun sets, the undead awaken. To slake their hunger, they feed upon the herd of unaware mortals. Right beneath our noses, the kindred clash against their rivals as they vie for control of the city of San Francisco. Vampire the Masquerade Rivals is an expandable card game for 2 to 4 players based on the popular role-playing game set in the World of Darkness. Each player will begin the game with one of 4 starting vampire decks featuring 4 clans: Toreador, Ventru, Bruja, or Malkavian. At the beginning of each player's turn, a new card appears in the streets. Players take actions claiming titles, recruiting new vampires, or risk confrontations by taking to the streets. Vampires are powerful beings with a range of abilities. Beware your rivals. Their attacks may hurt your reputation or send a member of your coterie into torpor. Advance your agenda or eliminate your rival to reign victorious over the city. Are you strong enough to cheat Final Death and see another night? Back Vampire the Masquerade Rivals expandable card game today.
I'm sold. The artwork alone is gorgeous.
So, Sarah, when is the Kickstarter launching?
Tuesday.
August 4th, and that is next Tuesday for anyone watching live.
It will be part of our Kickstarter.
So yes, that is
Saturday,
really
exciting.
Sunday
morning
in the panel,
Kickstart
we talked a little bit about the tiers.
That's for sure.
So I think you said the base tier was incredible. You blew B-Dave away. So the base pledge for rewards was what?
So you have 2 options. You can either do the base pledge level, which is $40, and that gets you the base game plus some of the stretch goals. Or you can do the all-in, which is going to get you all of the amazing stretch goals we have planned throughout the campaign. And that's just $100. You get the base game, and you're going to start off by also getting sleeves, which I'm a card game player. Who doesn't want sleeves? They're really, really helpful. Sleeves for both the city deck and for your library as well. And then all of those, like I mentioned, stretch goals and a playmat for the city deck, because that'll go in the middle of the board so everybody will be able to utilize that. So that is just $100 for that for the all-in tier, but it's going to get better and better and better as we go through that campaign. It's got so much stuff in there that it's almost too much value. That's our internal. What we haven't telling ourselves. We're like, are we sure we really want to do this? Like, we could save some of this back. We could do something else with it. And Scott's like, no, give it all to them. So
Yes, we
that's
do
what we're
want it
doing.
all. That
so
is
this
a
time
thing
I
for
blame
gamers.
Scott.
So shortly after this panel, I think we've got a live play of the game as well. So if you want to check out the gameplay, that's the place to do it. We've got a great cast who'll be playing. I think Sarah, you're going to be jumping on there playing. What deck do you know yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in with Malkavian. It's gonna be pretty sweet. I've got some plans, some schemes.
Yeah, that's exactly perfectly fitting for Sarah as Malkavian. Like, just
Little sneaky.
Sneaky. So
Yep.
another game that we are featuring that we also had a panel for yesterday for Gen Con Online is Embarcadero. We have a slide to show off some of the amazingness of this game. If you haven't seen already, and that will get up. But Anita, I want you to talk about this game a little bit. I think that there's some interesting insights there, given that this is a historical based game, and it's pretty component. Like, there's lots of design that happened on this game to make this a thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. We don't do a lot of historical pieces, so this was really fun. I love San Francisco, and there's so much history on how they built that city. So if you're not familiar with it, they brought in these ships and basically parked them at the beach, and they ran out of land, so they started just building right on top of these ships, and that's what the whole game is kind of based on. So when they first brought up the concept to me, it was just like, how are we going to show this visually? The game designers had their prototypes, and I'm like, I still don't get it. I don't understand what we're going to do. But going back with the graphic designer and the producers and game designers, we all kind of figured out how to make it happen, and it came together beautifully. A lot of research went in. I actually ended up going to San Francisco and going into some of the museums there, taking pictures for the graphic designers and the illustrators. It was really fun. It's a really, really beautiful game.
Oh, wait. So when you went to San Francisco, did you do that Embarcadero underground tour where they take you through, like, it's really weird and creepy, like all the underworld, like that kind of came up around that part of San Francisco, like turn of the century?
We didn't go in there because I had my kids with me, but we went into some of the other museums. Yeah. I couldn't take my kids down.
No. Yeah, you don't want to take your kids on that tour. It's
something to note for the next time I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's neat. Next time you're there, you should do it. It's pretty dark.
I remember in the panel, like, you can catch the panel on the Renegade Twitch channel. If you actually just, twitch.tv/playrenegade/videos, it's there right now. You can watch it. I remember on that panel, there was a shout out to your team, Anita, for making the cards discernible and understandable, which was really amazing. Sarah, you hosted that panel, so I know you're there. Is there anything gamers who are really excited about should know? And then, like, one thing, like, we got a little bit of time, but one thing, and then they can, after this panel, check out that panel.
Yeah, so as far as Embarcadero goes, this is a little bit of a heavier game for us, but it's absolutely accessible, and you think you get to the meat of the game really quickly because of the wonderful graphic design that we've ended up with. And the cards are very clear. You can really pick your strategy and just go for it. And there's some really unique stuff with the hand management of this game. I just loved playing it, and we do have it up on our Tabletopia demos this weekend, which is also an amazing feat because this is a very three-dimensional game, which is hard to do in a digital space, but you're going to love playing it with all those chunky, big physical pieces when we actually put this out. So it's coming out on Kickstarter. Check for that this fall, and we're going to have some fun upgrades, some extra stuff that you can pledge for, and it's just going to be, it's a very beautiful game. So make sure you're there with us. It should be fun. You're muted.
She's muted.
Uh-oh.
Am I back?
Back.
There she is. There she is.
There I am. So another thing that we have also up on Tabletopia is Athanam Mystic Library. We can get the slides up. We have a couple of them up because we're also doing a panel for this game as well. The components
that's
are
something
so
I
beautiful.
want to check.
Sarah,
So
why
much
don't you
stuff
talk a
from
little bit about
Renegade.
Athanam for us?
Yeah, so in this game, you are in a mystic library and you are trying to build your shelf based on objective cards that come out. And if anybody really loved Ex Libris, we heard from a lot of our fans that they really liked the library theme. And so when we were presented with another game that also had a library theme, we knew that a lot of Renegade fans would be drawn to that. And we also thought it was super fun to be able to have this puzzly game with all of these wonderful titles. We contracted with Banana Chan to do all the titles on each one of those different book tokens, and she busted them out super fast. She's just a hilarious person in general and very, very creative. So the book titles are wonderful and really add to the experience of the game. But if you're looking for a strategy game that you can play with your whole family that has this wonderful theme and it's a little bit puzzly, a little bit of strategy and light,
that's
easy
Sunday.
to pick
I might
up,
be able to make
I
that.
would definitely recommend this one. And also, I think that this one would be a relatively easy one to play if you're still socially distancing and you wanted to play online. If you each had a copy of it, it would be super easy because you're playing on your own player board and you do have a little bit of player interaction, but it's not a ton. So if you had a nice webcam, you could definitely play this one.
And this one is a game that is available in our booth. You can also get it, I think it comes with an art print as well. Anita, your team knocked it out of the park when it comes to art for this game. It's so beautiful. So definitely check it out. Next up, we have the Raiders of the North Sea. We have a whole Shemfest going on at Gen Con, don't we, Scott?
That's right. Shemfest is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll have Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald, and we're going to talk all things Garfield
I wasn't
games
working tomorrow,
and
but
celebrate
sadly I'm
the
missing all
Shem.
this.
That's what it's about, celebrating Shem. So Shemfest tomorrow, 5 p.m. I'm going to be on that panel, and I'm just going to sit back and listen to Shem and Sam talk about games. So there you go.
I do want to say along with that, we had a really, really incredible plan for Real Gen Con that involved this huge facade outside of our door that was all Shemfest related, an enormous banner, a huge night of activities. So when you go to Shemfest tomorrow night, just imagine in your mind that there are just a beautiful artwork from the Miko all around you, and that you're playing lots of Raiders of the North Sea and Architects of the West Kingdom and all of their other wonderful games. So you just pretend in your mind and then watch the panel.
That's true. So the original plan was, so I don't know if everybody knows, but designers Shem and Sam they live in New Zealand, and that's a little further away than Indianapolis is for most of us. But we were going to bring them in from New Zealand, and they were going to be with us at Gen Con, and we were going to have Shemfest all week and celebrate all things Shem and do lots of stuff with all their games. Garfield is a fantastic partner of ours. So this is the best we can do under the circumstances, but there's always next year. Let's just leave it at that. So we'll see.
That's really exciting. And I mean, I think that if you're a fan of Shem, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you will definitely want to check out, because we do have a bunch of stuff early shipping out of our web store right now. We've got the Raiders collector box. We have less than 20 of those left that are going to get early shipped. There's Raiders of Scythia, which we have limited quantities of that and you can get bundled with the coins at a special price right now in our booth too. So if you're looking for that, you can get it like 2 months in advance, which is huge. It's like actually being at Gen Con and getting your games early, which is really fun. And there's also the Raiders of the North Sea jigsaw puzzle. That collector's box art is on a jigsaw puzzle. You can get that now, pre-order that as well. So if you're a fan, definitely check that out, and check out all of the program we have for Shemfest. We have the panel, we have a live play of Viscounts, we have an interview with the Miko. There's so much going on tomorrow, and definitely check it out.
Terry, take a breath. Terry is like a kettle boiling with excitement, and I can start to see where like the whistle's gonna start to blow. Terry, we've got a lot more to cover. Turn the heat down just a little bit.
I really hope to meet Terry in person.
Okay, so let's
so
go
awesome.
to the north. So we're off the North Sea, but we're still in the ocean, Scott. I think I would say I'm a reasonable amount of excitement, Scott.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, okay.
Reasonable, perfectly reasonable. It's just condensed because I'm in a tiny container. You have to put it in a smaller body, so it's just more concentrated.
We know.
Bargain Quest sunk costs. So Bargain Quest is a game. Those of you who are fans of Power Rangers Here with the Grid might be familiar with Jonathan Ying, who's the designer of that game. Might also be familiar with his other game in our library, Bargain Quest. The expansion is coming soon. Scott, tell me how you let Jonathan stop working on Power Rangers to make a game with boats and pirates, or an expansion with boats and pirates.
Yeah, so the expansion came about when Jonathan came to me whining and crying. So he was yeah, would you be interested in doing an expansion? Do you think maybe, sorta, please, we could do an expansion for Bargain Quest? And he eventually just wore me down. So I said, okay, Jonathan, I hate to see you cry. I really love you. We need to make an expansion for Bargain Quest. So that's the true story. So, or mostly true, or some of it is true. We made an expansion for Bargain Quest. That is the true part. So there you go.
I have another true piece of information hot off the press. So I just got an email from our partner that is fulfilling for Gen Con. And if you're in Canada and you're really looking for this expansion, the Gen Con store is actually selling this, and they just opened up their store to ship to Canadians, which they weren't doing earlier today. So now you can go order this and also the Raiders Collector's Box, and you can even bundle this with the base game of Bargain Quest and have it shipped to Canada if you're like Terry and a little bit further up north.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I've looked at the art and I'm just so excited by it. Like I'm in love with the idea of seeing sirens with beards, so I'm all in. I was going to, Scott, I had enough excitement built up in me to do a dance. So I'm going to do an interpretive dance, and all three of you can guess what this is about, and then you can figure it out.
That was pretty accurate, actually. Anyone who's a fan of the fantastic Sanrio property Gudetama knows exactly what Terry is doing right now. At the end of every episode of Gudetama, there's this weird amorphous character that does this dance for no reason at all. The character is not Gudetama, it's just some other figure. Anyway, yes, we are doing a Gudetama card game. And
yes,
it is a trick-taking game. If you're a fan of Fox in the Forest Duet, or any other trick-taking game, really, this one is coming out from us in about a month and a half. And I really like this because Gudetama is the lazy egg. He represents that part of all of us that just don't want to get out of bed in the morning. And he really does a good job of not doing anything most of the time. And in this game, you are playing a trick-taking game, but you want to avoid taking any points. You want to not do anything throughout the whole game, and then the very last trick is the only one that counts. The rest of life doesn't matter. But when you get to that last trick, it suddenly is important. And if you take that last trick, you'll take some points, which are bad. So you're building up and trying to play cards very strategically to get to the point where at the end, at that last trick, you can play something that'll get you out of having to do any work.
Awesome.
I think we can all appreciate that. So that's Gudetama, a tricky egg card game.
And
Nice.
it's
It's so
available to
cute.
demo.
Yeah, we actually got it set up on Tabletopia for this weekend, and it's really
Yeah,
fast.
to see
Like
if I
if
can
you're
get a game
feeling
in.
a little unsure about how to use Tabletopia, this would be a really good one to start with because it's just cards. You throw them out on the table. It's very silly. The card art is hilarious. They each have little sayings on them. So try this one out on Tabletopia and get your feet wet in the digital environment. And if you are excited about it, then please order it from our website and you'll get it early. We're shipping all of our pre-orders for Gen Con from our Gen Con booth as soon as they show up in our warehouse. And this one's actually landing on the 15th of August, plus or minus a few days, depending on how boats work. And then we'll ship it right out to you, which will be a couple weeks ahead of time.
Yay. And then you can do the dance at home too. It'll be really fun. You can sing and it's not like I was, doing that this morning, just for no reason. It's not a thing. We have also early limited quantities. There's Clank Adventuring Party, which is pretty delightful if you are a fan of Clank.
I am.
This is one you'll want to check out. It adds an extra 2 players to the game, so it goes instead of to 4, it goes to 6, and every player starts with their own unique character and character art. Sarah, character deck, so there are special abilities in there that are unique to that character. Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
So 2 very important things about this. One, if you pre-order it from our website, we will also ship you the promo card Lightning Reflexes, which everybody loves promos, and Clank promos are even more exciting than normal promos because they're louder and they're clankier. And you want to do it fast to get Lightning Reflexes. So that was the first important thing. The second important thing is, again, we're going to be shipping this early. So it will arrive in our warehouse in a couple weeks and we'll get that shipped out to you right away. And you can be playing with your entire family. As Cherry mentioned, this does go up to 6 players now. I know a lot of families who have 1 or 2 extra family members that just don't get to play the regular version of Clank. And this one, you can now do that. And it expands both base game Clank, or if you played Clank Legacy and you've finished the campaign, remember you can keep playing using that board and all those components. And now if you add Adventuring Party, you can play with your completed version of Legacy, now with 6 players as well. So that just gives you even more options.
Cool.
It's always good to expand your games and get play with it a little bit more.
Like when you say expanding, this is one expansion that truly expands. You can play with 6 in the regular decks. You can play 6 with the asymmetrical decks, up to 6 with asymmetrical decks. If you never play Clank with anything more than 5 or 6, you can play with those asymmetrical decks. Sarah?
I'm really, really excited about this. I forgot to say the other most important thing about this is that you can play as Mr. Whiskers.
Oh, right.
Yes, the cat.
You can play as the cat?
Yeah.
Scott's not excited about cats.
I am.
The way
No,
we
no,
are.
I'm a cat lover and a puppy
Obviously.
This is awesome.
We have a house full of cats, and they're all here.
There are so many cats in Scott's house. It's unreasonable.
Yeah.
His wife is always trying to get more of them. Like, she called me up and said, hey, do you want to get a kitten from the same litter? And then I'll also get a kitten from that litter. And then we can have twin cats. And then Scott will have to let me get another cat. That's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Speaking
Using me as a bargaining chip.
Speaking of adorableness, the follow-up to the Tea Dragon Society
I'm so
card
excited
game
about this one.
was just recently announced. We just announced it. It's called Autumn Harvest. Art is by the same wonderful Katie O'Neill. Scott, why don't you chat with us a little bit about how we got a follow-up to the Tea Dragon Society?
I want all the plushies for this too.
I mean,
they look
it's
so
pretty
cool.
simple. So Tea Dragon Society is a game that we work on with Oni Games, right? It's a co-publishing arrangement. Same thing with Gudetama. So Gudetama as well
I want
is
the
a
big fluffy one in the
co-publishing
back
project
as a plushie
with Oni,
ASAP,
Oni Games,
please.
part of Oni Press, right, that makes comic books, and they're Katie's publisher, and they publish all of her graphic novels.
I
They've
have
won,
one.
so many awards, and Scholastic has picked them up, and just they're fantastic. So it was a no-brainer. Like Tea Dragon Society, the game that the book has done phenomenally well, but the game itself has just been great for us. Like we just keep reprinting it. I don't even know what printing we're on at this point. We just keep reprinting the game. It keeps selling. It's reaching lots and lots of new people. And the thing that I really love about Katie's stories is that us getting to make games about them with Oni is we're reaching new people and bringing new people into games. If you're not familiar with Katie's stories, I'd say charming is one of the best words that I could use to describe them.
Warm.
But they're very inclusive. They're very progressive, and they're just fantastic. And they're reaching a younger demographic, right? Like when we premiered Tea Dragon Society, we kind of sneak previewed it at this event up in Toronto a few years ago, and there was all these little boys and girls playing it with their parents, and it's a very simple, very easy deck builder, but even adults love to play it. So there's more graphic novels coming out in that storyline, and it was kind of a no-brainer that Oni wanted to follow it up with another game. So here we are, and this one is a little bit more, I wouldn't say it's complex, but compared to Tea Dragon Society, there's a little bit more there for gamers, but it's still a very light, easy to play family game. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the last game that you see from us in this series, and certainly not from Katie O'Neill.
I want more.
So,
all the dragons, all the
Sarah
time.
might want to talk more about things.
So one other important thing to note about Autumn Harvest, the Tea Dragon Society card game, is that it is both a standalone game and an expansion for the base game, which is really nice because, again, if you want to play a little bit deeper game, you can, and you love the first one, you already have the first one, you can go on and expand it. Or if you just pick this up off the shelf, it also works just as a standalone little bit deeper game for you. So yeah, if you love Katie O'Neill stuff, it's just a no-brainer. It's great.
Yes, for all of it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we've talked about a lot of the stuff we've announced. It's time to share some stuff that's new. And Anita, I think I'm gonna have you kick off on this because a lot of what we have to show is art. Beautiful, beautiful art. So the first one is Duel of Lawns. We'll pull up the slide there. So can you talk a little bit about the art direction of this?
Heather Vaughn is doing all the illustrations on this. She did all the kids on bikes stuff, kids on brooms, RPG stuff. Amazing work. She's been working very closely with Doug and Luke, who are the game designers on this. And yours truly did the logo work on this, so I'm invested in there personally. So it's been really fun. It's Sarah could probably explain more of the game mechanics to you. She's a little better at that, but it's looking amazing, and we're not quite done yet, so we're still working on
it. And this is a really exciting one, for sure. Go ahead, Sarah.
So that's the very first time we've shown or talked about this game at all. And so many of you are probably aware of the Kids on Bikes universe. This is originally a role-playing game we did with Hunters Entertainment, and it was wonderful. People loved that it's a very simple role-playing system. You can play with your whole family. Anybody who's never even played a role-playing game before can jump in and play this one. And so we expanded that and made Teens in Space, which is the same base mechanic that you use in Kids on Bikes, but now you're piloting a spaceship and you have all these alien creatures that you can play as, all these different space tropes that you can enjoy. And people love that too. And we thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to continue make another new world using this system? And so we worked with Hunters and made Kids on brooms. So of course you've got a little bit of witchcraft. You're living in a sorcery school for little wizards, and you can play as one of the students. You can play as a teacher. There's all sorts of familiars that you can get. There's different mechanics based on the type of wand that you have. All sorts of wonderful, rich, thoughtful ways that this world is designed in Kids on Brooms. And there's so much there, and people have really been enjoying that. That actually just came out last week. But we already knew that people were going to love it. And so we started working with Doug and Luke on the card game version of this, which can be played in addition to the role-playing game or kind of together. So we have way more to talk about with this. It's not coming out for quite a while, but we just wanted to spoil that because it's Gen Con and we like telling you exciting new things that are coming out. So Kids on Brooms Spell Duel card game coming out next year.
Duel of Wands.
That's Duel of Wands.
Duel of Wands.
What did I say? Duel of Wands. Like I said, we have not talked about this very much yet. You're all hearing it first. Duel of Wands. Spell Duel was the original name. That was our internal name until I think last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. Yeah, but either way, you get to duel with some spells and wands, and yeah, it'll be exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, the art's pretty cool. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Anita. Tell us about the art.
Well, we're not showing anything except for the cover, but I'll just say that there's a really cool mechanic where you play player to player, and then I don't want to say, but it's really cool as far as like how you have the opposing sides. So we're doing some pretty different things with this game that we haven't done with other games. So I'm excited to kind of play with people's minds a little bit on it.
It's really, I think this is a really exciting game, and if you weren't familiar, Kids on Brooms is like, I think that was the game you first ever like played on a stream, Sarah. This is that same set in the same universe. We're really excited about it, and that whole universe. I'm really excited to just play in that universe even more.
Me too.
That's coming up. We also have a game I feel like has, if the movie world has like a special list of like projects that have been floating around that everyone in the industry kind of knows about. This project is one that I feel like would live on that list on the game, industry side, like the board game side. This is a project that's been floating around. A lot of people who've designed and developed games know about it, but I don't think the world has really gotten a chance to know about it. And we're talking about it for the first time today here to the public at Gen Con. Scott, why don't you talk to me about My Father's Work?
Sure.
That's
so My
title.
Father's Work is a TC Petty creation of epic proportions. If this was a film, if this was a story, do you remember back in the day when they announced that Peter Jackson was going to make a movie based on The Lord of the Rings? And The Lord of the Rings for a long time was considered unfilmable. There's no way you could actually pull this off. That's what this game is. Like, when I first saw this game, probably almost 4 years ago, TC had it out at an unpub in Baltimore on the table, and it's just massive. There's so much going on. And I walked up and I was like, hey, what's this? And he goes, oh, this takes 5 hours to play. You don't want to play it.
Oh no! Come on, internet! I want to see this. This looks super exciting. It's got miniatures. Come on. Technical difficulties. Bow.
So
we go.
it was the worst. Here he is at Unpub, and he's like, yeah, no. Like, you would never want to publish this game. Trust me, man. This is way too big. And so I sat down, and I was like, no, tell me more. And it turns out it does not take 5 hours to play this game. It takes 5 hours maybe to play this game if you play through all the generations and kind of do all this stuff that he kind of had in his mind. But really, the premise of this game is that we as players are the offspring of a mad scientist, a Dr. Frankenstein sort of, persona. and
Okay.
we are continuing our father's work. And as we play the game, we are going to maybe make progress on these big, huge, audacious goals, but then we might also accomplish some smaller goals. We might interact with the people down in the village, in the town, and collect resources. But we may not finish like our big, huge goal before we pass away. And then the next round of play would be our offspring. So then all the players at the table are actually cousins, right? And you're playing through generations and trying to accomplish your father's work.
Oh, okay.
And it really is big in scope. It is it's going to be app supported. You will need this digital component to play the game. There's a huge amount of player agency in this game, kind of this choose your own adventure. Your decisions will matter. They will
I'm
be
a
very
fan
important.
of digital
You will unlock certain
applications and
story
board
elements.
games.
Some
I'm a
things will
huge
affect the
Prodigal
entire
Crime
game.
fan.
Some things will only affect you personally. You might learn things that other people at the table don't know. The replayability on this is massive because your decisions truly do matter, and the way he's plotted out the story threads, it's just this giant spider web of choice. It's really, really cool. So this has been in the works literally for years. We've been working on it for so long, really to refine this game to make it a very tight, satisfying experience, but the scope is very big. It's really, really cool. There's miniatures, there are a million bits, there's the app. We're just now, we're starting on all the art. The art list is massive. The story list, it's a massive, massive project. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It is TC Petty's monster, and we are going to bring it to life.
Good.
So
It is
Oh my
so
goodness.
cool. He's got like the craziest experiments in there. TC is so creative. He's got like these like actual wings and like the inside out crocodile, just crazy stuff. I love it. I love it.
I am just really excited to make my spider chariot because that's super fun, but it took me 3 generations to make it last time. I would also like to say, so I, as a gamer, my number one thing I really like to play in board games are campaign style board games. And I think that almost everyone that I've played fit into one of 2 categories. They're either very on the rails where you're playing a campaign, but it takes you from point A to point B very carefully, or it's a campaign salad. And what I mean by that is that you have this campaign that you're doing, but in between, all the choices that you make are just pulled from the bag of whatever you get. And then eventually you get to the end of the story where it was directing you anyway. That is not true for my father's work. Everything that you do in the game affects future things in that same game way down the line. You end up on a completely different decision path that will be unlike any of the other options. And I don't know of another game that actually does that. I know a lot of other games that sort of claim to do that and almost feel like they're doing that, but they don't do it like this one does. This is really a serious undertaking, and I'm so excited to see it happen.
Yeah,
Should be fun.
We're gonna be, yeah. That's right. It's coming to Kickstarter, and we're even launching it. There's multiple story modules that you can plug in. It's like it's big. It's really, really cool. So take that, TC Petty. You've even said you wouldn't want to make this game. So now I'm only doing it because I had to prove him wrong. So there you go.
That's true. That's how it works. One other thing that's really, I think, super unique about this game is that every other campaign style game I've played has either like miniatures moving around on a map or, things like that or maybe you're just abstracting it all out and you're thinking about what's going on in your story world. This is a worker placement game. So if you like Euro games like I do, I love strategy Euro games. But you like resource management and you like placing those workers and taking all those actions and modifying depending on which worker you place in which space, they do different things. If you like that type of game, we actually have a campaign game you can play now, which is so unusual and fantastic. I'm a little excited about this one too. Very, very.
It's super exciting. I love the game board mechanic in it, and we're trying to wrap our heads around it, just trying to figure out, like when TC first came to us and he's like, okay, we think we need as many illustrations for the game board. And I'm like, we need that many? Like, how is that possible? And then it just grew from there. It's just so complex, and trying to figure out how we're going to put it together and make it work. It's super exciting. I'm so excited about this. I love it.
Oh, this is a game. I feel like it. You may love Euro games, Sarah. I love miniatures. I love lore. I love story immersion. It's got all of that too. So I think that this is, if you're interested in those diving deep into a game, there's something in this game for you. Now, I put up a picture that I took with my potato camera over in the Power Rangers Facebook group earlier this morning. I think if we don't talk about it at all, someone might get really, really mad at me. So, Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about Power Rangers?
I just opened up mine. I'm sold.
About Heroes of the Grid? I mean, sure, we could talk about Heroes of the Grid. I mean, we also, back in June, we had teased that we had a new Power Rangers game coming out that's not Heroes of the Grid, totally different, totally new experience. And we told people that we were going to tell them in September that what that game is. And, you know, September's, it's like a month away. So, but if I tell you anything about that game now, Sarah would just me. So that's what I'm going to do. So Chris, you need to mute Sarah so she can't scream at me. And I'm going to tell everybody what that is now, and then Sarah can yell at me later.
Oh no, the stream! Come on, I want to hear this. No! Oh, come on, internet. You can do it.
Sarah can yell at me later. So here.
Oh.
Oh no, they muted him.
Don't tell him. Nobody tell him. It's fantastic.
Oh. That's horrible teasing. That's not fair.
So that's everything that I know about what we're doing in September, and Sarah can, just deal with it. I've spilled the beans. There you go. And now you know it all. Oh, I feel so good.
Scott, I'm sorry. I muted the wrong person. So...
we still have to take.
I don't think Sarah let me go back. Sorry.
We've got to move forward. This is for your own good, Scott. Let's actually talk about Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid stuff that is coming up, because that is what I took my potato can picture with, and I want to satisfy those Ranger fans out there who came to see what the heck I took a picture of, other than a big blue blob.
All right, Tara, you better tell them now, because we built this up.
Let's throw up the slides we've got here. We have some really exciting character packs coming up. The first one, this is art that we commissioned for Squat and Babu. A lot of the fans really responded super well to Bulk and Skull, and I think on the other side of that, Squat and Babu kind of sit in that realm. This is going to be
this is going to definitely be something
I'm really
I need to pick up
about it. And we will have this and another pack available for pre-order. Let's throw up the other slide so we can share a little bit about that too. There it is.
New droids.
We have another Legendary Ranger pack coming out as well. This is going to be really fun.
Have to tell Boomer about this one.
I know the Ranger fans right now are really going to know what's going on here. They'll see those Zords and know what's coming up. But Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about this pre-order campaign that we're going to be doing for our Power Ranger community?
So coming this fall, we're going to be doing the Legendary Ranger Forever Rangers pack. That will be part of our upcoming pre-order campaign, and then also Squat and Babu. And then we have another secret surprise for all of our Power Rangers fans if you pre-order that with us during that pre-order window. So we'll have more information about that coming up, but that's your big spoiler for today. We do have those two packs and more content coming. There's definitely a lot of good stuff for you to expand your game in that pre-order. So we're excited to be able to share more about that with you soon, but there you go for today.
There you go. So we have a little bit of time for questions. I know that Chris, who is the voice of the Meeple on our production day, who was kind enough to save Scott's life, I feel like he was able to intervene. Was able to catch a few of those questions, so we're going to answer them here now. Kenslow is asking, how has the ongoing global situation changed how you find new game designs and work on development? Scott, I'm going to throw that at you.
Sure. So yeah, it's challenging because we're not going to conventions and things like that. I'd say for us, it's not as bad because we don't do as many just kind of unsolicited pitches anymore. Like we still do it a little bit, but now we're doing less, unfortunately. But a lot of the times for a lot of our game projects, we are working with designers kind of in a community that we're already in touch with. So it hasn't been too bad. Really, it's probably been the roughest on new designers that rely on going to conventions to meet publishers, and that in the long run will hurt all of us because we're always interested in discovering new talent and new exciting designers so we can do new things. Hopefully this will be, just a bump in the road, and sometime, hopefully by this time next year, things will be back to, being at least relatively normal, and we'll be able to meet with new people and kind of go that way. If not, we'll probably look at some online things too to be able to look at new designs and meet new people. So.
All right, so the next question we have is a quick vampire question. I think this was handled pretty substantially in the vampire panel. From Insightful Strike, is vampire just going to feature the 4 clans that we've announced, or others planned? You can check the full answer again in the panels. We'll have that up on YouTube pretty quick here. But Sarah, if you want to quickly jump in on that. 15 seconds.
So in that box, you're going to have Bruja, Toreador, Ventru, and Malkavian that you can play around with. And then, of course, the crypt pack that you get more of those cards for the same clan that you can mix and match in there. But this is an expandable card game, and no surprise, we plan on expanding it. We wanted to start somewhere, and so we picked these 4 clans because it's a 4-player game, and a 2 to 4 player game, and so we wanted to give you some options there. But of course, we're going to be talking to our community, finding out what those next clans are that people are really excited to see, and getting some more info out there about that soon. So after the Kickstarter campaign, we will be announcing information about our first expansion and what the clans are and a little bit more about that. And then after that, you'll get to see more later, but it's not going to just end. This isn't a one and done deal.
I'm super excited about the artwork for that game.
Excellent. So the next question is about a game we just did a free release for Free RPG Day, and that is Overlight RPG. What does the future of Overlight look like? Is this something we can answer?
Overlight.
Sure.
Really
so there's another core book in the works. It's taken a little bit longer than I think everybody would like. Paul and George though are hard at work on it. Paul just had a baby. In the middle of all of this, so that
Congrats
definitely.
To Paul.
Well, actually, I should say his wife had a baby. Paul just kind of hung around while she did all the work. But
congrats
but in
to the
fairness,
family.
that's a big deal in people's lives. And but it is moving forward. We are still supporting Overlight every month with new content. We just put out a quick start guide, or actually not even quick start, an actual new module and an adventure for Free RPG Day. So we love Overlight. It's very important to us, and we're going to continue to put out content. But this is a very cool, original, creative world, and it's ready when it's ready, and when it's going to be ready, it's going to be awesome. So it'll be worth the wait. Yes, and we did just do a puzzle for Overlight too. So if you've exhausted all the content that we've put out and all the monthly free content, sit down and do a puzzle for a while you're waiting for the next book.
Yeah, we still are releasing free content Friday, supplementary content. The Overlight RPG Free RPG Day adventure was so beautiful, and the illustrations in there from Joanna Barnum were just utterly breathtaking. Takes you it takes
All
you right
the
into that
artwork
world.
for that
so
series
there,
is amazing.
there's a lot in store for that universe.
Sorry if it sounds weird. There's
Crossbones is
rainstorm
asking
going on
about
right now,
a
along
dice
with
set
lightning.
coming up for Kids on Brooms. Now, there is a Kids on Bikes dice set that actually has the skulls on it that are orange. I don't necessarily think it's something you can't use for Kids on Brooms because it's the same set you would need anyways. But I don't think we have anything in the works for that, Scott, Sarah.
No, not currently. I mean, the Kids on Bikes dice really are universal and work across Kids in Space and Kids on Brooms. Doesn't mean we might not do something different in the future, but for now, that's really all you need. If there's cool things that you want,
Oh, come on, internet. I know there's a thunderstorm going on, but I want to see the end of this. Please? Please, internets?
Let us know if we get enough demand for it.
All right, so this is the last question, and then I actually have a question. Oh, Sarah.
I have one last thing. Don't leave before I give one more exciting announcement.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. That's exciting too. So we'll have this question. We'll have for me, it's going to be a question to all of you about this weekend. But the last question here is, what is each of your favorite flavors of ice cream?
That is a trick question. The correct answer is all ice cream is wonderful.
Wrong, Scott. That was easy. Wow.
It's like my favorite food. So there is no bad ice cream. Anybody that tells you that is just being silly.
No, the best ice cream is getting a sample of one of each different type of ice cream while Scott is waiting to order his ice cream.
That's
okay.
true.
Maybe it's because I am the kind of person who would totally eat Nutella out of the jar if people wouldn't look at me weird and admonishingly. That Nutella ice cream is the best ice cream because it's the closest thing you can get to eating Nutella out of a jar, but you won't be socially shamed for it if you're doing it like walking around in public being seen by people. But Anita, what about you?
I like all ice cream. Absolutely. Gelato, ice cream, frozen yogurt. I'll take it.
All right, and so for each of you, what is one thing you are absolutely going to make sure you tune into for Gen Con, whether it's like here on our Renegade Twitch channel?
Oh, for me, I'm really looking forward to Shemfest, the Shemfest panel tomorrow. So that's at the top of my list. I'll be there, but really pretty much anything that we're doing, I'm going to be checking out. But yeah, hang out with Shem.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say actually in about 40 minutes, I'm going to be doing a live play of Vampire. So if you want to come and see me play Malkavian, I would love it if you joined my coterie and enjoyed some Vampire with me. It should be fun. So the Vampire, the Masquerade Rivals Expandable card game at 3 p.m. Pacific time today.
Anita, how about you?
6 Eastern.
I'm looking forward to the Micho tomorrow at 10 Eastern. And also Katie O'Neill she's being interviewed, and I think that's tomorrow at 4. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
It's like right bookending the Shemfest too. So you just like turn on Twitch tomorrow and just let it run because there's programming back to back all day tomorrow. It's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to earlier on in the day. Our family plays games. They've been on Good Morning America. They've been interviewed by national newspapers. They're on the Renegade Game Studios Twitch channel talking about family gaming. I have a little one. I'm gonna learn so much from that workshop, so I'm really excited for that. But I'll be tuning in basically all day watching and painting miniatures, so it's gonna be a fun time.
Me and her need to get together and paint
Sarah,
minis.
now you can go ahead and say your thing.
All right, I have an unofficial announcement that none of the rest of you even know about yet. And this is going to make more work for Terry having to put out some press releases soon. But we have officially decided that October 9th, mark your calendar, that's going to be the next Renegade Con. So you can join us back here on Twitch in our Discord. We're going to have some special sale items. It's going to be very, very exciting. And we have so much we want to share with you. And that's going to be Renegade Con on October 9th. So we can't wait to see you there. It'll be wonderful. Yeah.
Have noted.
Yay!
I'm
All
really
right, Terry.
excited. Oh,
make your
fun.
newsletters.
It's oh my god.
Exciting! I didn't know that.
I'm super excited, and I've got to go now. Actually, now's the time for me to go because I've got to type in on those press releases and announcements. But thank you all for tuning in. Make
This
sure
was a
you
really
stay
great
here.
panel.
We are going to be doing the Vampire Life Play, as Sarah said. Tune in tomorrow. We will start bright and early with programming on Saturday at 11 a.m. With the live play of Gudetama, and maybe I'm gonna see, because Victor's in that mix along with Irene, Mandy Hutchison, and Christian
Mandy's
from our
getting to
Renegade
play.
Players
I'm so
group.
jealous.
Maybe they can do a little
Mandy,
dance
you need
on
to tell me more about it
too. And so starting at 11 and going basically all the way until 12 hours of Gen Con fun here on the Renegade Twitch channel. Thank you so much for watching, and Renegades, don't forget to play your game. Bye!
This was an awesome panel. We will
Bye.
definitely be following up. Well, we'll catch you at the next panel.